All I gotta say, legends are putting on. Say what you wanna say. Can't deny it.
Hey yo, Ease.
Yo, what's the deal, fam? It's your man Ease. Yo, man. 1 year later, LL Cool J, Q-Tip, the Force album. Let's talk about it. Initially, when the album came out, I did like a little reaction review video, and I actually liked the album at the time. But 1 year later, I think I like the album even more. It's great to see the OGs doing their thing and making quality music. Like you step away for a full year and you press play on something and it still sounds fresh and you still catching lines or little tidbits within the production and mixing. That's what music is all about, is a journey, man. And some things that jump out about this album 1 year later, cohesive storytelling is definitely there. This is probably LL's most progressive album of his career. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. I'm just going by my ears and what I've encountered with his music over the years. As far as the album goes, I think this is the most progressive. Seems like he's speaking from the heart, from the onset. Songs like Silence of Cyrus, Go Do Your Homework, terrific storytelling there, emotion, vivid details, and speaking about things he wouldn't necessarily speak about if we're talking about the history of his career. It's freedom and being independent, right? You never got the sense that he was chasing radio singles on this album, he or Q-Tip. They did music that fit LL, but was also different from what he's done in the past. And production plays a huge key in that, and also having complete confidence in the producer that you're working with. He's very expressive on this album, an array of different topics. Spoke about the opening track, where he tells a story. He's speaking about relationships. He's speaking about his career within the game and how he's been up for quite some time. Like, it's so many different things on this album, man. Like, but from a mature perspective, right? You never got the sense that he was boasting or speaking down on people. He was just, encouraging himself. So you got to respect that. Not really worried about public opinion on this album. And it's aging pretty solid, man. Like, I don't know, it's only 1 year, but sometimes you can play an album like, I don't even know, why did I like that? I found myself liking it even more than I liked it initially, Another thing that hops or jumps out at me is Q-Tip's production, mastery, man. And some people didn't like it, but for me, I'm always going to leave the door open for a producer who's attempting to take his sound to the next, or her sound to the next level without compromising. You get what I'm saying? Some examples of that would be traditional, like his traditional sound would be what? Like boom bap or some jazz and funk and things of that nature, or just doing things unorthodox with drum loops. A lot of that's on this album, analog drums, they slap. You got some live instruments on there, whether it be a Fender Rhodes or even a string instrument such as a bass guitar, even acoustic guitar, all that's there. Vintage synths, for sure. Never got the sense that he was using VSTs. I could be wrong, but something about that tone and the warmth that doesn't really lend itself to that thought process. Great at sequencing. There's so many different moments on this album where the sequencing was superb, man. Like blending sounds, how he goes from the Silence of Cyrus, that ends and starts with like the static sound going into the Force, and how that blends into how the entire track comes together in a sense, That's fire. Black Code Suite, how it starts off, very minimal, and then it builds up, but we'll speak about that a little later in the video. Another thing that jumps out to me on this album is the soul, the soul of the album. Not soul music per se, but someone just conveying their message or speaking what's on their mind or being honest. There's a certain feeling that soul music brings about. And the subject matter. Got history on here like we spoke about. It's about love, confidence, self-reflection. It's well-rounded in a way that you rarely see LL. Once again, you would get those moments on his albums here and there But this album, top to bottom, is like he said, yo, I don't care what anyone thinks. I am the force. I am first ballot Hall of Famer. I have over 3 decades in the game. I can do what I want. I built up enough equity to where I can speak my mind freely and have it be respected and accepted. And he was right, for sure. There are some small misses on here, like on the transition between passions and proclivities was a bit harsh, but yeah, that's just me being nitpicking. That's just my ear, you know what I'm saying? Everything ain't gonna be perfect, but for the most part, this album is solid, man. I just want to talk about some tracks that I really like. I said Black Code Suite. That's fire. I like that a lot. I stated that, right? The first half of the record is crazy. Opens with like the clave, a rhythm, you know, just a steady pattern, keeping the a steady beat, keeping the pattern going. Something you expect from like maybe like Afro-Caribbean slash world music, I would say. And then Q-Tip starts to layer the production, which he does. Just look at his career, man. That's what he does, man. Puts in the warm Fender Rhodes, which is, for those who don't know, a Fender Rhodes is like, I believe it came out like in the 70s, or was utilized heavy in the 70s on a lot of soul records and stuff like that. It adds like a different tone to it. You can put like a little delay on the chords in the sense. When you hear it, you know it, you know. A lot of people started using it back or heavily again during the neo soul movement, which is like what, the early 2000s, right? It's never went away, but for the most part, as music continues to push forward, that's like a mainstay within music. People always find a way to utilize it, whether it's through production, studio production, or even live concerts or instrumentation. But as the song goes on, Black Hole Suite, it gets pretty special. There's a transition almost into a live performance feel. Like you almost get the sense that you are in a venue, an intimate setting, not too many people, not a concert or an arena tour where LL and Q-Tip are just there and putting forth quality music. Superb vocal chant, not sure what the young lady is saying on there, but then you got Q-Tip in the background. I think he's doing the background vocals on there, or part of it. He's definitely, I can hear his tone there. Acoustic string guitar, bass line finally drops, and it just starts to click. It feels less like you're listening to a rap track and more like your front row, like I said, at an intimate live show, man. That's fire. It's soulful, many different textures, and bold, which is something different musically for LL. And when I say bold, I'm not talking about having the autonomy or the courage to say certain things or come at people or battle rap or mama said knock you out, things of that nature. I'm just talking about, yeah, I'm gonna try something different musically, which you're not expecting. I'm gonna show you how nice I am because I can adapt to anything. And that's this album proves that. Passions. Another track where the sequencing was pretty solid. You can tell Q-Tip's ear for sequencing is elite. The Rhodes comes back, but it doesn't really play a prominent role like it did in previous tracks with chords. Now it's like carrying the top line melody. The top line melody would just be like a line on top or something that typically follows the hook or chorus, but he's playing it within the verses itself. The drums shift gears into something traditional hip hop. I think it's 16 note hi-hats with a swing on it though, and it sounds like MPC swing. Nice. So open hi-hat sprinkled in there, and the snare sounds like a rim shot but with a live clap. Not one of these computerized keyboard Korg Trinity or Korg Triton claps. I mean like someone actually got in the booth, clapped, sampled it, and laid it on top. It's fire, man. Punchy, warm, it's expansive. It just works. Organic, live energy. Another track I like, 30 Decembers. LL talking, man. Flow is superb. Pockets are insane. He's sliding across the beat, but it's precise. It's precision, but with a veteran mindset, though, because it doesn't sound like he's trying to use all his tricks in one track. It's just the pocket. That's what pocket is all about. Once you find that pocket, man, you stay there. You stay there, whether you rhyming, whether you playing drums, whether you playing bass. Find that pocket. That's what people can relate to, you know? It's the kind of delivery, what we got here? It sounds natural. He's smooth, confident. You hear this track and you're reminded why LL has stayed relevant for, like I stated before, 4 decades. Charismatic, control, and his complete mastery of the art. Complete fire. Run It Back is another track I love. And these are not, I wouldn't say, I'm not naming my favorite tracks, but these are tracks that are just superb in a sense to where it highlights the genius level in which they were working in, you know, whether it was rhyming or production or the mixing. But the album from top to bottom is pretty solid, for real, man. Like, replay value is there. You can press play and let it go. But once again, Run It Back, this sounds like Q-Tip back in his Renaissance era. Renaissance, the album. Funk, but yet jazz, and it's blending beautifully. You got a funky bass line, drums that are energetic, they slap hard, and the vintage keyboard once again makes another appearance. The whole vibe, it feels like a jam session. You know, you ever been to a jam session where musicians get together before or after a show or even just an event and they just freestyle pretty much, for lack of a better term, and play with like a band. You have some solos here and there, but they come together and then they find their pocket once again. It's cohesive. Q-Tip, he wasn't afraid to push boundaries. He also kept it funky, man. Like, how could anyone not like this album? I don't get it. That's your opinion, I get it, but the production was fire. And LL, 1 year later after listening to it, it really showcases, it's so many lines I didn't catch early on. You know, like, for real. Like, and I can honestly admit that. And probably 6 months from now, I would probably catch some other things. That's what music is all about. But sometimes you got to revisit it. Like, things that you like, go back to it, because there's plenty of things there that you didn't catch early on. But that's just some feedback on what I like about the album. Once again, the production was fire. LL was spitting many different topics. Perfect combination. Shout out to Queens, man. Something you wouldn't necessarily think of. And when you think about these two coming together, most people was expecting aggressive L with a Tribe Called Quest Q-Tip. And that's not, you got portions of that, but what you really got was two individuals who worked on the album, and you got input and creativity and a focus or aim or objective collectively from both of them. It's not like LL just hopped on Q-Tip beats and just did whatever Q-Tip requested or suggested or commanded. Nah, it sounds like they really worked on the album together, man. Real rap. And that's what I want when brothers be working together on albums. Let it be cohesive. Don't make it sound like Q-Tip is doing beats for a LL project. Let it be a Q-Tip and LL album. So before I go, man, all I got to say is that the legends are putting on. Say what you want to say. Can't deny it. I ain't talking record sales. I'm talking about things that are going to sustain you or feed you or hold you out over time. And this album proves it. 1 year later, I can actually say I really like it even more than I did initially. And I liked it when it came out. It proves LL isn't done, if we ever thought that. Just came off a successful tour with the Roots, right? I think it was the Force tour. And the album's the Force. And hopefully they get back together and make another album and, you know, continue to be progressive and push it forward and have fun making music. LL is who he is. Q-Tip is who he is. Both from Queens, you heard? Let me know your top 3 songs off the Force album. Have you listened to it recently? It's your man Easy, the Easy Experience. Remember, you can achieve anything out here through sheer hard work and patience. God is the greatest. I appreciate you out there. Go get yours. Yeah.
Hey, yo,